The search for a new dean at WJC is moving ahead. We'll update that for you. Plus, formal designs may be coming soon for a pair of Huntingburg Stellar Communities projects, and Purdue Extension educator Jan Dugan is tonight's guest on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. The search continues for a new dean at the Vincennes University Jasper campus, and you will get a chance to meet each of the three finalists. Vincennes University officials say John Barry, Nathaniel Sloan, and Chris Gray are the finalists for the dean's position. Each of the open forums will be held in room 141 at the Center for Technology, Innovation, and Manufacturing. Barry's forum will take place on July 8th, the forum for Sloan will be July 14th, and Gray will have his forum on July 17th. All three forums will be held at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, the public will be able to ask questions during these forums. The winner will succeed current Dean Dr. Alan Johnson, who is retiring after a 9-year tenure at WJC. Johnson says regardless of who is selected to replace him, the campus is in a great position for future success.
This campus keeps up by having staff who have their thumb on the pulse of what's happening in the industry. We have a program leader here in Ray Niehaus who is extremely experienced and has contacts all over in the manufacturing industry. We have adjunct faculty who are teaching for us, who are also working full-time in local businesses, and they keep up with what's going on in their field.
The 70-year-old Johnson will continue to be involved with Du Bois Strong as an emeritus board member, along with serving on the board for Grow Du Bois County. Johnson's retirement will cap a 48-year career in education. 42 of those years have been in higher education, with 39 at the community college level. Huntingburg Mayor Denny Spenner says things are moving along quickly for a pair of Stellar Communities projects. Spenner says more than 70 people showed up to the unveiling of design proposals for the 4th Street Heritage Trail and Market Street Park projects a couple of weeks ago. He says the high attendance was a reminder that the community will be actively involved throughout this process. Spenner says the Market Street Park project will move along a little bit faster due to funds being available a bit sooner. However, he says there will soon be noticeable progress on both projects.
In the very near future, we'll be going out for proposal for engineering firms to actually start designing that project from a bricks and sticks part of the way, other than just a conceptual design. That's the Market Street area. For the 4th Street project, is our funding source on that is the Indiana Department of Transportation. We met with them last week to kind of start outlining, again, the timeline on that one. They have a very specific funding process. We will have to time that project to match their funding process.
Ideas for the Market Street project call for functional use for special events as well as everyday use, being a place people want to return to, and complementing the 4th Street corridor. Other features discussed included space for a permanent performance venue, an interactive water feature, and vendor accommodations. Now, as for the 4th Street project, the city is looking at a flex street concept where the street would stay as it is, while the Heritage Trail would run down both sides. Spenner says 4th Street committee members took a recent trip to Columbus to look at how that city's project came together. Spenner says, ironically, Columbus's Heritage Trail was also built on 4th Street. He says committee members found the trip to be a productive one.
I think it brought some new understanding to those, you look at a drawing on a piece of paper, you can kind of get the idea, but to actually stand in the street and see what was there. Folks from the city of Columbus was very gracious to us. The engineering firms that did the work for that project were there to explain how this all worked. They also were very forthcoming in things that they would do differently. Between the project that was done in Columbus 3 years ago, and if we follow that concept here.
Concepts for both projects were laid out by Indianapolis-based firm Taylor Siefker Williams. Construction on both projects is expected to get underway sometime next year, should the funding become available. Bids for the spillway reconstruction project at Beaver Lake have been received. At a special meeting this morning, the Jasper Utility Service Board opened 2 bids. The low bid was from Crimp Construction of Jasper at $334,400. The other bid came from Force Construction out of Columbus and totaled $531,789. The board sent out 4 bids in all, but only those 2 were returned. Now, the board voted to refer the bids to the Water Committee for a recommendation, and that committee will hold a meeting Monday, July 13th at 8 a.m. Action on the recommendation is then expected at the regular Jasper Utility Service Board meeting coming up at 7 o'clock on July 20th. Project engineer Christopher B. Burke Engineering will also review the bids. The city will pay around $350,000 in engineering costs for the spillway project. State highway officials have narrowed the possible routes for the final leg of the Evansville to Indianapolis Interstate 69 extension down to 5. The Indiana Department of Transportation said yesterday it chose the 5 preliminary alternatives for the highway's Martinsville to Indianapolis segment after reviewing public input and evaluations of the 14 initially proposed routes. The 5 routes do include State Road 37, which is the most controversial of the proposals. Federal and state officials identified that state highway back in 2004 as the best possible route to complete the roughly 142-mile I-69 extension that will go from Evansville to Indianapolis once completed. INDOT spokesman Will Wingfield says the agency will release more information late this year on the 5 alternatives that could include eliminating one or more of them. An environmental document that INDOT expects to publish in early 2017 will make a final recommendation for the preferred route for I-69's final segment. And finally tonight, the leadership structure of the State Board of Education now has a different look to it. Avon Community Schools teacher Sarah O'Brien was unanimously selected as the board's vice chairwoman this morning. O'Brien, who teaches 4th grade at Avon's River Birch Elementary and is the daughter of Republican State Representative Bill Fine of Munster, will share authority with Democratic State Schools Superintendent Glenda Ritz over the board's agendas. Now, Ritz will still be the board's automatic chairwoman in spite of a push from Republican Governor Mike Pence and the state legislature to change the law so that the board could elect any member as its chairperson. The change will instead take effect after the 2016 state superintendent's election. All right, coming up after the break, your 4th of July forecast and Inform with Jan Dugan. We're back after this.